A few years ago, I had a business plan, a committed investor, and up to $1 million ready to go. 6 months later, I was up at 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out how to cancel it all. That's not the end of the story. That's actually where the real business started. Hi, I'm Matt from Beyond BST. I've spent over 25 years building companies as a serial entrepreneur and helping small business owners avoid costly mistakes. Welcome to the channel. Quick question before we dive in. Tell me about a hit you didn't see coming in your own business. Let me know down in the comments. I'm always curious what people have to say. So here's where this story begins. At the time, I was VP of sales for a laser tag manufacturer. Part of my job was visiting entertainment centers, new clients, existing clients, learning what worked and what didn't in the business. So one day I'm at a brand new client's location and he's got his investors with him. And they're showing me the blueprints, for what they're building. And this wasn't small. No, this was massive. Multiple zones, a restaurant, nightclub, go-karts, mini golf, arcade games, all inside this full entertainment complex. We got into this really great conversation. I was talking about how you might want to redesign the layout a little so customers could be served with fewer employees, and how you could supervise the staff across the multiple zones just by, tweaking the plan a little bit, and how to flow traffic so every attraction stayed busy without feeling packed. About an hour in, the owner excuses himself, steps out to use the bathroom. And while he's gone, one of the investors turns to me and he goes, we should really just invest with you. You clearly know this business. And I laughed. I'm like, yeah, sure. Well, a few days later, one of them called and they weren't joking. Over the next couple of months, I pulled together a full business plan. I knew the industry, I knew the equipment and the operators. This wasn't guesswork, and they committed to back it up to $1 million. That was enough to secure a location, get the equipment in, have a real financial runway, and to be open within maybe 6 months to a year. I started working with industry reps I'd met at trade shows. I started lining up the equipment. I had conversations with the landlord about this large, big box kind of vacant space. It was perfect for what I was imagining. Everything was falling into place. And then the investors stopped returning my calls. At first, I figured it was just timing. They're busy people. And then another week went by. And then I got a short email. They let me know they were pulling out. There was a stock market correction or something, and it had cost them significantly, and the deal was off. I took a day, just one, to really feel it, to be frustrated, to wrap my head around it, process it. And then I picked up the phone and I started working through my supplier list. I was canceling orders just one by one. By the end of the day, I'd gotten through all of them with one left. That night, I didn't sleep. I remember laying there in bed, running through every scenario, and I kept hitting the same wall. It was the overhead. It was the building lease and the employees and the equipment payments. I remember thinking, if only I didn't need all that stuff, this would be so much easier. If I could get rid of the building and the staff and the massive lease. And then it hit me. What if I didn't have all of that? What if I just stripped it all back? Instead of having 20 attractions, I had one attraction, maybe two. Make it completely mobile. Do special events and corporate parties and private bookings. Maybe I could make that work. Now, here's the important part. Remember, I still had that one supplier left to call. It turned out to be an RC, radio control racetrack company. I called them the next morning, but instead of canceling the order, I placed one. They gave me 30 days to make the deposit and 60 days to pay it in full before they deliver. That was a window, a real one. I had 30 days to prove the idea before I owed $1. So I started researching companies in my area with 50 or more employees, and I sent out hundreds of postcards multiple times. And it was a simple pitch. This really cool RC racetrack is available for holiday parties, employee appreciation events, team building, whatever. I had a number of companies respond, and 4 of them booked. That was enough for me. That was the proof I needed to just keep moving forward. That first year, I booked 20 something events, car shows and fairs and corporate functions and private parties and all that while I was still working full time. The next year, I doubled it. I quit my full-time job and went all in on this business. I even started manufacturing a better steering wheel system in cars and tracks and expanded into other unique attractions like mobile video gaming and karaoke and basketball shoots and that kind of thing. Eventually, we were touring the East Coast college circuit, filling an entire gym one night, tearing it all down and setting up somewhere else the next. I ran that company for 10 years before selling it. So what does this mean for you? Well, here's what I took from it. First, when funding falls through, start stripping it back. I mean, ask yourself, what's the smallest version of this idea that can still make money? Second, you need to validate before you scale. 4 bookings wasn't a whole business, but it was permission to move forward. And that's all I needed. All right. Third, own your niche by offering what nobody else has. I didn't compete by being cheaper. I competed by having things that they didn't have. And that's where the margin lives. The $1 million entertainment center, that might have worked, but the mobile business I built in its place, I mean, that funded 10 years of my life to where I got married and I had kids. That pivot may have been plan B, but ultimately it was the better plan. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more content like this, please give this video a like and give me a subscribe and let me know in the comments. Have you ever had to pivot a business idea but ended up better for it? I'd love to hear about it. I often look there for new topics as well. On Thursday, we're going to put the lessons that I learned into action. How to deliberately design a lean, low overhead business from the very beginning, so you don't have to wait for a crisis to find a better version. Now, take a breath. You got this. All right. What's next?